But man, at Heart Nation, it's time we have a real conversation about the Chicago Bears. It is time we talk about the hype around the Chicago Bears. Guys, because I am not buying the hype. We all know what the Man-Hour Bible says. Thou shalt not trust the Chicago Bears until December. But man, everywhere I look, Chicago Bears, Chicago Bears, Chicago Bears, we're going to play out Super Bowl, man, slow it down, man. Yes, look, I get they won 6 of their last 7. Yes, I get it. Caleb Williams looks electric in the fourth quarter. And yes, the Bears have finally shown life after years of mediocrity. But let's be honest here. Let's be honest. The Bears are highly overrated. Guys, on Sunday, Chicago had to really ball out. They had to rally to beat the New York Football Giants. Let me say that again. They had to rally to beat the New York Football Giants. Now, I get it. I get what I said. I said the Giants are not the absolute worst team in the NFL, but they're not good either. Let's just be honest. And here's a stat that tells a story. The Giants have blown 4 double-digit leads this season, including that one on Sunday. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 double-digit leads going into the fourth quarter. That's ultimately why Brian Daboll got fired, but hey, that's a story for another day. So before we start crowning the Chicago Bears as a playoff lock, as a top team in the NFC, let's pump the brakes. They're winning, but they're not dominating. They're simply surviving. That is not sustainable football. Now look, this is how the game went down on Sunday. For the most of the contest, the Bears looked like a less luster team at best. Flat offense, shaky protection, and the defense that bent way too often. Caleb Williams had flashes of brilliance, but through 3 quarters, he was just much of the substance. He was just there. He was going through the motions. And then halfway through the fourth quarter, things suddenly clicked. Down 10 points with 6 minutes left, Caleb Williams led a 91-yard drive to make it close. Then the defense came up with a clutch, and then Caleb Williams drove 53 more yards for the go-ahead score. Sounds heroic, right? Because it was. It was a great 6 minutes. It was MVP level 6 minutes, but here's the problem. That's now 4 game-winning drives this season. And while that sounds great, it also means Chicago needs miracles just to win, much like the Denver Broncos. Caleb had to scramble for his life, make impossible plays, and literally put the entire team on his back. That's exciting football. It's fun to watch, but it's also a sign that everything else around him isn't working consistently. You can't rely on trick plays and last-minute magic weeks every week. That runs out fast. Ask the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now look, I will give them credit. Ben Johnson has these guys playing expired football. Rome Odunze finally came alive with 86 yards and a touchdown. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has been a fantastic pickup on that defense. And let's not confuse fun with formidable. Guys, the Bears' win has come during soft part of the schedule. The Bears are beating lackluster teams, and now it gets real. From here on out, outside of Week 15 versus the Cleveland Browns, every opponent has a winning record or is an NFC North rival. This means no more freebies, no more bad defense, no more teams that fold in the fourth quarter, like the New York Football Giants. If Chicago plays like they did against the Giants, those comebacks won't happen against elite teams like the Lions, Packers, or 49ers. This next stretch is where we find out if they're legit or if it was all smoke and mirrors. Remember, thou shalt not trust the Chicago Bears until December. And guess what? It is November 10th. Guys, the fact is the Bears are improved. They're still not there yet, but they're very, very much improved. Caleb Williams is electric, no doubt about it. But when you need him to play superhero ball every week just to survive, that is not a recipe for success. The Bears have become the kings of the comeback, but comebacks eventually run out. Trick plays, last-minute drives, and fourth-quarter magic will work against mid-tier teams, but when you start facing real contenders, you need consistency, not chaos. And that's where the Chicago Bears still fall short. Guys, simply put, the Chicago Bears are overhyped. They've taken a step forward, but right now they're living on borrowed time. Heroic wins look great on the highlight reels, but the truth is, once the schedule tightens up, those close calls will start running into losses. But man, our nation, do you guys think the Bears are for real? Or are they just getting lucky before the reality hits in the second half of the season? Guys, subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. East Coast time, right here at youtube.com/man-hour. So join the conversation, guys, because this is a live, interactive show. Now, out of the corner of my eye, I saw the comments starting to flow down a little bit. Let me scroll back up here. Mellow Mike says, slander. The Bears hired Ben Johnson to coach their little Jimmies. The Bears are back, baby. Bears are not back. The Bears are not back. Yes, they did beat a Super Bowl caliber team in the Dallas Cowboys, but let's just be honest. The Dallas Cowboys with defense was a little bit shaky in that game. They had no CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens was kind of hit or miss like in that game. But if they were to play again next week, when Overshown comes back, baby, ooh, boy, Cowboys will whoop that ass. The Bears are done. Maximus says, watching the Bears games actually has been very entertaining recently. But those close games comebacks won't translate into playoff success. They can't rely on Caleb extending plays to win, especially in January, much like the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers, the last few seasons, living off the edge. The youngest team in the roster, the youngest roster in the NFL, all that excuses out the window, right? But Jordan Love and the Packers were winning a lot of games because of the extending of the legs. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Now, the first game that Jordan Love played as a Green Bay Packer in the playoffs versus the Dallas Cowboys, they had an excellent running game. Matter of fact, I think Aaron Jones just scored another touchdown on the Cowboys from 2 years ago. It just is what it is, right? But DeAndre Swift better show up. Rome better show up. DJ Moore better show up. That defense better play lights out because Caleb Williams, you were exactly right. Maximus cannot run for his life. Wes, what's up, man? Where's my... Nope, must be inside. But guys, there's a reason why the Kansas City Chiefs do not have cracks in their foundation because they went with elite concrete. They called Wes and said, hey, we need a solid foundation. What can you do for us? He's like, look, man, I got some rebar. I got a little bit of concrete. I got some time for you, baby. We're going to build that foundation and we're going to go over the moon, baby. And that's exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs did. They call West. So guys, in the description below, click on Elite Foundation over there on Facebook. Give Wes a call for all your foundation needs. But Wes says Caleb is in a spot. Caleb is in a spot just like January Money Manziel. Win or bust only. Sucks, but that's the life of a high draft pick. To be fair. Caleb Williams is on his second coach in 2 years. Caleb Williams is on his third coach in 2 years. Caleb Williams is on his fourth offensive play caller in 2 years. So I think Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears and Ryan Poles, especially, understands that they have a nice foundation. When you look at the Chicago Bears offseason, they've done everything right. They had all those trades, all those pickups. None of them were flashy. None of them was a big DJ Moore trade. None of them was a big Keenan Allen trade. It was offensive line. It was defensive front. It was depth. Guys, the Chicago Bears are doing everything right. And unfortunately for Caleb, I think he is getting a lot of the benefit of the doubt because the Chicago Bears fans are just tired of new coach, next year, new quarterback, new coach, quarterback. They're trying to break the groundhog cycle, and I think they finally have. Mellow Mike says, give me the team not named the Chase who say is not overrated. A team that's not overrated, the LA Rams, the Dallas Cowboys, the Titans are not overrated at all. Saints are not overrated. Jets are not overrated. Giants are not overrated. Patriots are definitely overachieving, I think. Wow, look at them. A team else is not overrated. There's a lot of teams in the NFL that are not overrated. How about some underrated teams, right? The 49ers are definitely an underrated team. Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm just kidding. Underrated. We can throw the Chicago Bears in there a little bit underrated, maybe a little bit overhyped. I don't know. They're definitely overhyped. But no, the Kansas City Chiefs are not overrated. They're overhyped. Kansas City Chiefs are definitely overhyped, but they're not overrated. They're still a pretty damn good team. Wes says, it's because the other team has more numbers. See, Wes, that's the great thing about the NFL, is every team has 53 people. Well, I guess 54 if you count the emergency quarterback. And every team has 10 or 12 players on their practice squad. And every team has about 15 to 16, 17 coaches. So it's all not about numbers, baby. However, a lot of those players went to big number schools, so they had success. If you know, you know. Well, Mike says Super Bowl caliber team and the Dallas Cowboys hasn't been a thing for 30 years. Somebody call the manner this guy is delirious. Come on, man. You know the Cowboys are going to the moon. Soul Knife 20 says the Chicago Bears are doing everything right except winning. Wins will come. Wins will come. They are doing everything right. They are building the roster from the middle out, right? Meaning offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, running backs, not making splashy trades and acquisitions and that kind of thing. Building from within, much like the Colts do. Wins will come. The Chicago Bears and wins will come. Not this season, because they're probably going to lose the rest of the season. Let's just be honest about it. Maybe next year, maybe the year after that. Let's give Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and that core of the offense a year together, and then let's speculate. Bill Mike says, Jaguars, cough, coach job. Man, how do you give up, 24-19? It's ridiculous. What says, I like the response. Facts are facts, homie. Facts are facts. Speaking of the Jacksonville